up, y'all? It's your boy Simply Food by TY, aka Tobias Young, aka all things Simply Black Honey. And speaking of honey, today I'm gonna go in and do a late summer inspection on my honeybees. For those of you that don't know, typically the bees are gonna start the process of overwinterizing their home probably mid-July, latest, top of August. There's a lot that they have to do to get this hive ready for them to make it through the winter time, because they have to pretty much stay in there the entire winter during those cold months so that they can survive. So they have to make sure that they have everything that they need in there right now ready to go. So they are in overdrive. I'm going to do this inspection really quick. I'm not sure how much I will show you. In all of my research, I've seen that they say typically around this time of year, it's August 28th, the bees are going to get a little bit more defensive because they're super protective, because they know they're about to be on lockdown soon. So I'm not going to be playing around in there too much today, but I want to go in, check on the queen, see how she's doing, make sure that those babies are still doing well, make sure that my comb in there is still being built straightly and not all jacked up like it was before. We saw what happened with that the last time. So I'm going to go and check, make sure there's no hive beetles, just make sure things are tidy. I'm going to start to lessen how often I check in on them over the next coming weeks while they're doing what they need to do. If I need to refill my sugar water, I'll go on ahead and take care of that. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so as always, first things first, make sure you got on all of your, your gear to make sure that you're nice and safe. I've gone in and I've given them a little spray down with some of the smoke, 2-3 puffs in the front, 2 to 3 in the back. And now I've removed the hood, the roof of the house. And now I'm going to go in and remove the lid. I always want to be gentle when I remove the lid, because sometimes the queen may go all the way up to the top if there's no queen excluder in the box, which at this stage there is not. So she has free range anywhere in here. So when you take off this lid, you want to be extra careful to make sure that you don't damage or potentially kill your queen. Again, I'm going to try to be as quick as I possibly can be with this. It's about to get really hot outside, and again, I know that they are probably super defensive right now, so I don't want to bother with them too much. Okay. All right, well, we have some new things in here that I've never seen before. Don't know what that's all about. There's lots of worms. I need to figure out what that is immediately. But let me make sure my queen is not on here before I sit this down. She is not. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sit this down. And then I'm going to take some video on the inside of this so I can show you guys what this is that I'm looking at. Give me 1 second. So this, my dear friends, is not a good thing. These are called wax moth worms. And this is not good. This is an infestation. This has all got to be cleaned, and I have to gut this. This cannot stay in here or the entire hive will become infested. Look at this bastard right here trying to get inside. That's not good. Not good. All right, y'all. This is not looking too good for year 1 of beekeeping. Those worms have gotten in my hive and have completely just decimated this entire hive. They have drained them for all honey that's stored in there. These ones I have to get rid of because they're just completely infested with them. And I've already had to get rid of more than half in this one. And as you can see, all my bees are clinging on for dear life to these last 2 ones, trying to protect them. And I just sadly don't know if they're going to make it. I don't know, y'all. All right, y'all, so let me show y'all what I have going on. I think that I am sadly going to have to sacrifice these baby bees here. Not the ones that are already born, not the ones that you see flying, but the larvae. I don't think that I can risk putting this back inside of my hive when this has already been detached from a frame. So I sadly think I'm going to have to lose those, but let me show you what we've done. I've gone in and scraped off any residual, the stuff that comes from the worms. I've scraped all of that off, and I've replaced all of the frames but 3. Just those 3 that you see that are in the center that are a little bit darker in color. The queen is likely on one of those, so I'm going to leave those be. They also look totally fine. I'm going to place the lid on this and put the roof back on this. I'm not even going to place this second one back on there. They're in no position to have that much space. And they, frankly, at this point, the colony is so small that having all of that unnecessary space is what causes these type of problems to begin with. So I'm gonna just put the roof on this and call it a day. Hey, so I wanted to give you guys a close shot of some of my honeybee larvae. You can see that one is already developing eyes. Lots of babies in here. Lots of capped brood, which means that those will be born soon. We're doing a little bit of maintenance work, but that little baby right there got her eyes already. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? While I was out here, honey, got myself a little bit of honey. Yes, my babies work real hard. Yes. All right, you guys, so to wrap things up, so for today, what I went and did is I removed all of the frames that were in this top box. I've taken them all out and I've thrown them away. I have a bunch of new ones that I wanted to use anyway for next year. I know the rule of thumb is that if you do have frames with wax moth on them, you can scrape all of the stuff off and put them in your freezer. But frankly, the frames that I currently have, I was not planning on using next year anyway, so I just went on ahead and discarded them. So that kind of eliminated a lot of extra time. I've scraped off any of the residual stuff that was on it. And because I'm not putting this back on, I actually thoroughly washed it down with some hard water. And now I'm just letting it dry because luckily I chose the hottest day of the fall so far, which is going to get up to 96 degrees. So all of the wood is going to get sucked out of this, so I don't have to worry about it getting mildew or anything. Next up, I've cleaned up the driveway. Any of the wax moth that I've seen that's still on the driveway, I went on ahead, took a butter knife, just chopped them bad boys in half to make sure that they do not come back to life, because they will try to make their way back into the hive. And then as you can see, the hive itself has now been officially downsized. So this is the size that I initially started with when I got my bees for the very first time. I will say doing inspections now moving forward will be a whole lot easier because now it's only one box that I'm checking versus two. But, you know, we'll see how they do. My girls seem to be very resilient. This is now the second time something pretty traumatic has happened to this hive within the first year, and they're still holding on tight. So I'm going to leave them alone for a few days, and I'm going to keep checking in on them at least once a week for about the next month, or until, you know, the weather is getting a little colder. I'll leave them alone, but I really want to keep an eye on them to make sure that none of that wax moth is coming back. Thanks for tuning in.